So there you go, the 12 mind map realities. And I hope you'll agree they are just a little bit different, right? They put coaching into a very different perspective, really, when you think about it, because traditionally coaching has looked quite a lot at the idea of someone wants to get somewhere, help them break that up into stages, help them build the strategy, and on you go, right? With the 12 mind map realities, what you've got there is a complete system. So even if you stopped the program at this point, you would have the underlying philosophy of absolutely everything that both makes mind map so different, but also makes it so powerful. I mean, you think about it. This is ultimately a storyline, if you will, kind of air quote storyline, that's telling you that there's a lot more to coaching than just geeing someone up, than just kind of trying to air quotes motivate them, than trying to kind of say, kind of, if you want it badly enough, you'll do it, and all that kind of stuff that we spoke about in the last lesson. Really, if you were to boil this down to its essence, what we're saying with these 12 realities is that most coaching is wasted until you get a person into their human brain, right? Because as we've already established through this lesson, that the only part of the brain really that is what most of us would call the mind, and certainly we're going to go into this more deeply in future lessons, right? But the part of the brain that most of us would call the mind is this part right up here in the front, right? The prefrontal cortex. And that's what we're really calling the human brain, right? So in order for a person to be using their right prefrontal cortex, the creative side, the kind of the solution oriented, the trying to figure out things side, or in order to use the left prefrontal cortex, the logic and the joining the dots, and okay, this comes first and this comes second and this comes third. In order to actually use that part of the brain, we have to be in it, so to speak, right? And to be in it, we have to be out of those other parts of the brain that are actually perceiving a threat. So whether those threats are coming from our environments, whether those threats are coming from other people that are in the environments, whether those threats are coming from internal dialogue that we're currently running, like this will never work, and God, is it, have I made the right decision signing up for MindMap, and God, it's a lot of money, and what if my clients don't do da, da, da. All of these things where we actually bring threat into the environment. And as you're going to find out very shortly, threat is really about two simple things, right? Prediction and response. So as we bring threat into the picture, as our prediction and response goes down, we become less and less human and far more mammalian. In terms of our needs from our social circles, and also far more reptilian in terms of our survival-based thinking and our grasping and our neediness. All of these things run contra to the entire idea of really long-term goal achievement. And it's very possible that we can get somewhere, we can achieve a goal, but we very rarely are able to sustain it and keep it, right? So within these 12 realities, you have basically the core materials for creating not just change but lasting transformation. I mean, if you can kind of just absorb the idea that the true job of a coach is to get a client into their human brain and keep them there so that they can use their own logic pathways, so they can use their own creativity pathways to solve the problem, then you are going to be head and shoulders above 99.9% of all other coaches out there. And I don't mean that from a conceited or arrogant perspective, and it's not just a kind of my course is better than your course kind of thing. It's because it's what I truly believe. I believe that there are a lot of really powerful coaches out there, really amazing ones who've never even touched on MindMap, who've never studied the same material, and they're still able to get their clients amazing results. But the interesting thing is that to get that good as a coach, it often takes a hell of a long time, lots and lots of experience, making lots and lots of mistakes and all that kind of stuff. This is how we all learn, right? But what the MindMap program offers you is a means to bypass many of those mistakes, increase your awareness of environments, increase your awareness of the things that affect the environments, and helping the client to use their own brain to figure out the solutions rather than having them kind of handed out as some form of mentor or kick-ass coach or someone who feels it's their job to constantly be holding people accountable or motivating them. As you're going to see as you progress into this course, accountability and motivation are not important aspects of being a really good coach. And in fact, I'm going to lay out a storyline for you where the more you try and hold people accountable and the more you attempt to motivate them, potentially the more threat you bring into their environments. So hopefully this lesson on the 12 environments has really got you thinking. I hope it has. Watch it a couple of times, kind of go back through it a couple of times. I can certainly tell you that when I got this down, so I've got the list of the realities in front of me right here, right? So kind of when I got this down, that what you do is determined by your inner dialogue, like what am I actually saying to myself? What I'm saying is determined by my thoughts. What I'm thinking is determined by my feelings. And to the largest degree, what I'm feeling is determined by the environment that I place myself into, or the way I've created the environment around me. Right? Then ultimately understand the brain is always scanning your environment via your sensory system. What you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, experience of your environment is actually transforming your feelings and actually or informing your feelings at any moment in time. And then ultimately the meaning that you give to those stimuli is completely determined by which brain you're in, right? So you can be sat in the most beautiful and relaxed environment, one that traditionally gives you a great deal of pleasure, and you can be in one of your animal brains, and while you're in that animal brain, all you can think of is all the things that aren't going right, and that, oh, it's too hot in here, and why is there never enough water on tap, or why is this happening, or why is that never the way I want it to be. The meaning given to what is happening around you depends completely upon which brain you're in. And our job, again, is to keep returning that client back to the human brain, right? Giving them the tools, right? So far less in terms of rules and far more in terms of tools to actually get themselves back into the human brain. This idea that number 7, we don't have a motivation problem, we have a threat problem. When we are under threat, we become defensive, we become aggressive, right? Fight, flight, freeze. When we're under threat, we behave very, very differently. There are survive mechanisms. But when that threat has passed, all of those creative centers come back online, and now we become motivated and inspired again. We start seeing the possibility and the probability in things. Number 8, you don't have a mindset problem, you have a brain set problem. People will love to tell us that you've just got to get your mind right. Remember, the mind is the responsibility of the prefrontal cortex, really. Okay, so but the rest of the brain can take that offline. So that's a really important one. Each brain has its own threats, needs, and desires, right? What you need from your mammalian brain is very different to what you need from your reptilian brain, is very different to what you need from your human brain. And until we can actually understand this bigger picture of brains, we're probably never going to be able to make the kind of transformations in ourselves and our clients that we really, really want to. You don't get to meet the human till the animals are happy. And this is a really important concept. And obviously, as we get deeper into the brain science perspective, you're going to really get to understand this in a real deep way. But for now, just understand that you don't, like, we escalate, if you will, we progress, we evolve through our brains to be a human, right? We've all done, I'm sure you've done things out of anger, when you're feeling really angry or when you're feeling really put upon, you say nasty things to people or maybe even to yourself, or you do horrible things, or you smash cups around and you behave extremely differently. That's because when you're in one of your other brains, it doesn't really care what the human wants. Okay, so just understand that you don't get to meet the human until both the reptile and the mammal is okay. The mind is human brain only. We've already said that. And the thing is not the thing. As we progress into the program, you're going to really see this, that the thing is not the thing. The thing that you think you're dealing with, like the reason why your client or even yourself is upset, angry, pissed off, scared, fearful, these are very often not the superficial things we're looking at the surface. There's a hell of a lot of things that go on beneath. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Keep coming back to it, go over it again and again, but I promise you, if you can kind of get this down pat, and even if you can kind of just take your time to think through each one of these steps and think about what they mean to you, you're going to be in a far better position as a coach as you move into the rest of the program. So I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Don't forget to go and check out the invitations videos, really, really important to your progress as a coach. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Take care. Bye.